Welcome to another episode of Core Top Tens. My name's Legacy.
And I'm Max.
I'm Bobby.
I'm Jay.
All right. And today we are doing another fun top tens. We are doing worst NFL draft picks since the 2000s. We all take it kind of different ways. It's not bust necessarily, it's just worse. Which pretty much all of them were bust because every one of them was picked in the first round.
Some of these might not be the most common ones that you would think.
This one was initially supposed to be just worse draft picks. Then we kind of said, let's do NFL because the NFL draft's coming up. And then it also switched to us just doing the 2000s because, we've kind of seen more of the 2000s also kind of just how we ended up. Ryan Leaf will not be on this list because he was not drafted in 2000. That probably would have been a top one.
Yeah, and Ryan Leaf has been talked about to death, so...
We got 26 players that were voted for. There were several ties, and only one player got everybody's vote. So
I think I know who that is.
Yeah. Quite a bit of discrepancy. So let's get into it. Gentlemen, are you ready?
Always.
Yes.
All right. So there was a three-way tie for the 10th place. All coming in with 77 points. Each one of these people were the number 4 from somebody else's list. So it's kind of how it ended up working out. All right, so the first one we're going to talk about is my number 4. It was 2012 Christian Ponder. So when I did this list, how I kind of took it wasn't just draft bust. I just kind of went with worst as in just dumb picks that I thought even at the time were stupid. Christian Ponder, it was just one of those that was like, what did you see in him at all? Like, I watched him throughout Florida State. What made you think he was a first round player? Does not help that. I mean, luckily he's a little helped by Jake Locker was also taken in that draft with him, and Blaine Gabbert. But what he's also hurt by is that was probably one of the top, I believe the top 7 players minus the second pick all made
really good. The
like
worst
Pro
pick
Bowl. It was
the worst pick of the first 7 picks is Alden Smith, but he was good. It's just his issues outside of NFL will hurt him. But those first 7 picks are all Pro Bowlers and all pros.
Hall of Fame careers, definitely Hall. And I think what also with him, who was it? Colin Kaepernick was also available after him. Andy Dalton was also available.
Of him, he's better than Christian Ponder.
Yeah, this was one of those years that. Sorry, I misspoke. It was 2011, not 2012. I said 2012. It was 2011. My bad. But that's pretty much why I just did not see the first round talent at all. I thought he's a backup at best. With how high they took him, I'm like, you had so many other options of positions or just better players. Nobody ever said he was a first round talent.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think most mock drafts or most pundits had him as great as a second round player, which if he was a second round player, he probably would have gotten more time to develop, which he needed. He should not have played his first year at all, maybe in the first 2 years, and he probably still wouldn't have been that good, but some players need that time, and he certainly was one that could have used that. So the Vikings reached real big with that one. I didn't put him on there just because the other quarterbacks around there also were terrible. So you could have chosen any of them: Jake Locker, Blaine Gabbert, or Christian Ponder, all kind of in the same category. Those are picks 8, 10, and 12. So 4 picks between them, all terrible.
Only one's still here, though. Yeah,
Blaine Gabbert's made a career being a backup, so that's good for him.
Yeah. All right, we're going to go into our next one. This was Vitamin J's number 4. It was 2007 Brady Quinn.
Like, at the time, he was, like, top dog. Like, he was one of the highest, like, hype quarterbacks. And
I thought he was going to be good.
Terrible.
I did not. I thought he was not going to be good. I was right.
He is one of the reasons do not trust a Notre Dame quarterback.
Yeah, not named Montana.
Yeah, not named Montana.
Yeah.
We're going to go to a year before.
He was one of the quarterbacks that they had to take to a green room because nobody was
Yeah, because he got drafted pick 22. Yeah, his career 4 wins, 16 losses, 64.4 quarterback rating. Yeah,
I'd love to know his accuracy on deep balls because that was horrendous.
His completion percentage for his career was 53.8%. So his deep ball.
What game was it where he just horrendously missed the dude?
I believe it was like he missed. I forget what it was like a Sunday night or Monday night game. I want to say it was against Baltimore. which makes sense because this game in Baltimore, it might be this one. Yeah, it was against Baltimore in 2009. His stats for that game were 13 for 31, 99 yards, 2 picks, quarterback rating of 23.5. But the main reason we remember that game was because he threw about 4 or 5 deep passes that were about to the stands. Someone caught that. I had a better chance of catching that in the stands than his receivers did.
Well, out of bounds. Oh my god,
just awful.
Yeah, but he's handsome, you know.
You got quarterback face.
I mean, he had a good. I mean, he was jacked.
In his last 2 seasons at Notre Dame, he was really good. So I mean, I could see why people were hyped about him.
He did get drafted by the Browns, which is just a death note, really. I mean, if you get drafted by them, your career's already over.
Yes. Let's go into our 2006 draft. It was somebody else's number 4. It was D3's number 4. It was Matt Leinart.
I mean, again, you got this guy. If he came out a year earlier, they were saying he was going to be the number 1 pick. And then he came back, fell to 10? A lot of hype behind him, and he barely played. I'm sorry, if I'm investing that much in you, you better be playing.
Well, and he was put into a position where he should have succeeded because he had Anquan Bolden and Larry Fitzgerald. It takes a bad quarterback to fail in those circumstances. But because of his failure, that's why Kurt Warner had his resurgence.
Yeah. And so that is a positive. If you're a Cardinals fan, you probably take that.
I mean, ideally, the quarterback you draft would do well, but
I'm left-handed, but this is why it's very hard to get a left-handed quarterback because there's so few and far between, and most of them just aren't as good. Tragic.
Sure.
You understand my struggles as a lefty?
Yeah, the struggle is because they don't make the world for us. They just, to us.
I want one to succeed since Steve Young hasn't been very many.
Granted, we are only 7% of the population, and there's a lot of still people who are left-handed that do stuff right-handed.
You got Mike Vick, you know.
Yeah, you got Mike Vick, even though he's one of the most overrated players of all time. But that's there.
Yeah, but I want more guys. More guys. That's why I was pulling for Tua. And I really like that USC team. I thought he was going to be a lot better. I thought it was going to be like
he was a lot of fun in college. That whole team was a lot of fun.
Both him and Reggie Bush underperformed, but Reggie Bush still had a solid career. Matt Ryan did not.
All right, we're going to go into our number 9. Was also voted on by one person. It was their number 3. It goes back to the 2002 draft. It is the 3rd pick by the Detroit Lions, Joey Harrington.
Yeah, this is me. This, I do a lot of stats on quarterbacks. He's the benchmark for me of about among the worst quarterbacks of all time. Pretty much a lot of the stats I do, he's generally at the bottom. So if you are anywhere close to him, that's not good news for you. I put him on here because he was just terrible every year of his career. He was a 3rd pick of the 2002 draft. David Carr was the 1st pick, so I guess it wasn't a good quarterback draft, but still. And Patrick Ramsey was another 1st-round pick in that one, so all bad.
To be fair to David Carr, he had no O-line.
Yeah.
That dude got sacked like 72 times one year. I mean, that's just brutal. He probably still was,
But for no apparent reason, Detroit kept giving Joey Harrington chance after chance, and he never got better. I mean, he maybe got slightly better, but every year he was among the worst quarterbacks in the league. And I remember this was about when we first were getting into football, and I remember all these people talking like, "Oh, he has real potential. He's real potential." Then he just never saw it.
And honestly, I best remember him. He was the cover athlete of NCAA 03.
Yeah, I mean, he was good for Oregon. Yeah,
Oregon.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's the offense he had just didn't translate to NFL, and he started 55 games for Detroit, was 18-37 with a 68.1 rating, more picks than touchdowns.
Yeah, is that bad?
It's pretty bad. Pretty bad.
Granted, he's not like now, but still, like in this era, that doesn't fly anymore. In this area, you should not be struggling that bad.
You want to know who the modern day comparison to Joey Harrington would be? Zach Wilson.
Okay, good. All right, good.
Okay. I was like, I swear to God, if we start.
I thought you were trying to.
Okay. Before this season, Daniel Jones' stats were close to him, but now he's shut up. So Not shocked.
Which
He's a lot higher than Joe Harrington.
I will also say, thanks to this season, you all couldn't put him on the list because I would have been fighting you, all right? I would have been fighting you because I know one of you wanted to put him on the list, but this season, he took himself
I don't know
way
if I would
off
have put him on the list either way because a lot of these players I have are worse.
He couldn't even be considered. We're going to go into the next one. This person was probably one of the most controversial figures, not really for what he did, like he did anything bad off the field. It was just everything going around with him. He was very let me not say controversial, polarizing figures in football. He did have a season. We all remember he just wins football games. It is 2010's Tim Tebow. It was voted on only by, it was number 2 by Vitamin J.
I knew it would be Jacob. I knew it was Jacob. To be honest, though, he is very deserving of this list.
Yeah, if the Broncos didn't reach and pick him in the first round, like he was at best a late third, fourth round QB.
You talk about someone who needed to sit for a few years. That's when it needs to sit.
Yeah, he a few years, more like 5 years.
Anything that you could have done to fix this
motion, though. No, but I'm saying I would have given him the best chance. The only reason I didn't put him on my list because he had that playoff. He had that playoff game against Pittsburgh where he won.
Yeah,
I thought that was better. He had more of a career success than the guys on my list.
Well, yeah, same. Because he at least had a little bit career success. Granted, it was a weird season, but he at least had a little career success where these other guys, like, they ain't really show me anything.
I think a different Denver quarterback for this list. I thought it was much worse.
Which are you talking about, Osweiler?
You'll find out.
Yeah, honestly, if Tim Tebow had just gotten had courage and changed his position, he would have played much longer.
Hey, that's not where the money and the girls are, Jacob.
If he wanted to be a fullback, he'll be great. He'll be like Mike All-Star. He would have got like 70, 80 rushing touchdowns.
Okay. Let's not compare him to Mike All-Star.
But he could be a player that you put in that fullback.
He could, yeah.
Back when he played fullback, and he could have easily gotten like 6 to 10 touchdowns.
Well, plus they probably would have done like still some Wildcat, and you could have still instilled him in some Wildcat, like move him around, and he could have been.
He could have been like a Taysom Hill, pretty much.
He could have been that, and also you move him to tight end. You could have probably had a lot of innovation for him if he was willing to. But
the block.
But yeah, what?
Oh no.
Yeah, him being the first round is what maybe put on the list. It's just like that was a monumental screw up by Denver.
All right.
Yeah, we all said that when he
they got lucky and ended up obviously getting Peyton Manning, but
yeah.
Well, actually, if it wasn't for Tim Tebow, they probably wouldn't have looked.
No, they wouldn't. Yeah, really, I was gonna say that run was like because I know I'm gonna have another quarterback that still made playoffs and went on a run, but that run was really kind of inspired by him, and it was very polarizing. The defense run game did well, but he had at least a couple moments where you're like, wow, he somehow pulled it off.
Like that one game.
Yeah. Like, for those of you who really were too young, I don't know if we have any very young viewers, but we all do remember the Tebow mania and how it went. Of it just kept being weird. Of like somehow, some way, Denver just kept it close, and then the last drive, it all just fell together. Granted, they had a really good. Demaryius Thomas was very underrated. Eric Decker was underrated at that point.
Overtime, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. The Steelers game, they just went. They just threw it. They just said, "We're going for it." Boom. Boom, and it was like, okay,
this is I got you, fam.
Rest in peace.
Yeah,
it was
rest in peace, man. He was a good player, man.
He was very good. He was one of the best in the league during his time.
Oh yeah.
Look at the Tim Tebow went 7-4 that 1 year, and it was a 46.5 completion percentage. That's unbelievable.
It just did not make sense.
A good team. He did get one of the best post game pep talks after Florida lost.
Oh,
he was correct. He guaranteed they wouldn't lose again, and he was right.
Yep, that was one of the best moments. He was one of those signature reasons of the difference between why college and NFL are two different things. Like, you can succeed with a lot of that stuff in college, but once you get into the NFL, it's a whole different game. It is a whole different game.
Yeah, because you have those systems that just don't translate to the NFL.
He has also transitioned very well into the commentating. I've seen some of his stuff. He does a pretty good job.
I don't mind Tim Tebow as a person. A lot of people don't like him. I'm like, there's no reason to not like Tim Tebow just because he's religious. Who cares about that? Like, I don't mind him as a person, but as a player, he was not good.
No,
and
it was fun.
He is one of the best college players of all time. I will give him that.
Yes.
Yeah, he was very what he could do. All right, cool. We're going to go into the next one. We're going to go into the 2003 draft. This one was voted on by everybody but me. This player was taken number 2 overall, and surprise, surprise, who else would take him but the Detroit Lions? It is Charles Rogers.
Another RIP. So I'm not going to go too hard on him, but the pick right after him is probably a Hall of Fame receiver, Andre Johnson.
Yeah.
So,
and look at these stats. His first year,
I know
22 receptions, 243 yards. Then he was hurt for the whole year, and then he had 14 receptions, 197. And you drafted him that high, second overall.
Yep.
So,
and you took him ahead of Andre Johnson, who was probably going to make the Hall of Fame at some point. So that's a double ouch right there.
Yeah, doesn't look good.
And you can't say you can't be like, well, he went to Detroit. Andre Johnson went to a good team. No, Andre Johnson went to the Texans, which at that time were horrendous.
Honestly, is what killed us. Probably would be much better if he got unlucky with that one.
They're competent. I mean, Matt Schaub wasn't terrible, but.
And this is during the time Detroit. If you're a wide receiver, you might have gotten taken by them. They were just it was so desperate for him.
Him, Roy Williams,
Mike Williams.
3 years in a row.
Oh, Mike Williams too. Yeah.
I think it was 3 years in a row, but or 3 out of 4.
I mean, they finally hit with Calvin Johnson, but of course, that man was he was never gonna fail.
That was guaranteed. But yeah, he just for the second overall pick, he got 400 yards out of it. Yeah, that's not good. And he only played 3 years, and one of those seasons he didn't play at all. I don't think because he got hurt.
Yeah, wasn't he suspended for a year?
Or he might have been suspended. He might have. But the fact is, you just got no return on the second overall pick. You're expecting at least, your second overall pick, you won 10 years.
Minimum. Well, at least on a second contract. That's all I got to say about Charles.
Yeah, I'm not on the rag. How many points did I get?
This one came in with 13 points. We're going to move on to 2008. Came in with 14 points, was voted on by Max and D3. It is the 6th pick overall. Going to the New York Jets, defensive end from the Ohio State, Vernon Golston.
I mean, this is a combine athlete, that really shot up his stock. Did he even get a sack in his career?
No.
I'm sorry. If I'm drafting number 6, you need to get me a sack.
In fact, he only hit the quarterback one time in his 3-year career in 45 games.
So that doesn't speak volumes to how bad he was.
I mean, they got practically nothing. Essentially, what they got was 42 tackles, career total tackles, and then 3 tackles for loss, which an undrafted free agent can do that. Yeah. And they just paid the 6th overall pick. I love the rumor that the Patriots were leaking that they were going to take him to get the Jets to take him because the Patriots knew that they're like, he's not going to be that guy. So the Patriots made the Jets panic and then take him and then probably laugh their ass off. I do love that his cousin
Belichick was playing checkers.
Yeah, he was. I love that his cousin William Golston. He's not starting anything, but he's been in the league for like 10 years for Tampa Bay.
And I did have to double check. He is still alive, so I feel better talking about how bad he is.
Look, we can talk about these people. We just don't want to, get personal.
I had no idea he died.
Wait, did Golston die too?
No.
I'm saying I'm talking Charles Rogers.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say.
Yeah, William Golston actually has 19 and a half sacks for his career. His cousin, 1 quarterback hit.
He's played 10 years, so. But yeah, Vernon Golston, just one of them combine warriors. They got overdrafted. You don't normally see that too much these days of someone blowing out the combine and then taking way too high. I mean, it still happens for sure, but you don't see it as much with these sort of.
If you want to see his combine numbers, he ran a 4.65 40. He did 37 on the bench. Got a 125-inch broad jump, 4.4 shuttle, a 7.1 3-cone, and 35.5 vert.
Well, I mean, if they didn't have to put on pads, he'd be an all-star, huh?
Yeah. What was his college stats? Was he even worthy?
I don't know if you're going to find sack. Well, yeah. His last season, he had 14 sacks.
Yeah, he had 8.5 the year before. And not bad. Not bad, nice.
But I think for him, at least, again, he was one of those that at least he's in a position where, your athleticism, it is nice to see the combine sometimes because the athleticism can translate of oh my gosh, he can do this. Because I remember JPP stock ran up because of his numbers at the combine and also the freak athlete he was.
Yeah, at least he
did. That man has 1.5 hands than Vernon Golston ever will be.
Oh, yeah. That man killed it. That man has killed it and made it.
Well,
I remember that
Baker
one
Mayfield
video of him doing like he was doing like 10 flips.
Oh yeah,
or something like that. Thing was insane. I was like, this dude's a freaking athlete. But yeah, it's one of those, and I think teams have started to learn. Hey, don't get lost in the combine. Make sure you're looking at the tape because that's going to show you something.